Hi, this is Gacho Bad, and this is Una Plática.
Una plática.
Una plática.
Es una plática.
Say plática.
Una plática. Una plática.
Well, the main inspiration to be an artist was actually just a need. About 3 years ago, I lost my job pretty suddenly, and then so I just had to do something. So I'd always kind of tinkered with Photoshop and digital designs and stuff. So I just started throwing them on T-shirts and selling them just to make money. And slowly that turned into something like a passion. You know, I was really getting excited about designs and doing different things and wanting to kind of learn how to. I was like, okay, now I need to learn how to draw better, so that way I can, help. I guess compensate for some of the digital parts that were lacking. So from there, I just kind of started learning more, sketching, drawing on digital pads, and eventually I started painting. I had never really painted before, but that turned into I absolutely love it. So yeah, slowly I'm starting to just grow as an artist. So it started with need, and I just kind of was able to rely on the creativity I always had to kind of help me through a pretty tough time in my life. Yes, I do. I'm a Chicano and I'm an artist, so I do consider myself a Chicano artist. I don't intentionally put a lot of, Chicano things in my work, but it does definitely come out because I go back to a lot of my experiences and things like that in my artwork. So just naturally it's going to come out, growing up around the culture in South Texas and stuff like that, but that's what all my experiences are. So yeah, I'm a Chicano artist. My culture, the way I see my culture, I like to consider myself a Texican. Because I grew up in South Texas, and my family, going back 2 or 3 generations, is all from, the Bishop Kingsville Corpus area. So that's why I consider myself a Texican first. But what I feel my culture is, like who I am, it's influenced by that, but it's also highly influenced by popular culture. I think that is probably like one of the bigger influences of my culture. So it's a weird combination of traditional Mexican South Texas things that I grew up around, but then also influenced by the A-Team and Mr. T and Pee-wee's Playhouse, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a weird mishmash of traditional and I guess modern type of Texican stuff. Not necessarily a person or people. I admire, I guess, generalities of people. I don't like to just want to focus on one person and say they're a hero because, as we've all found out, that tends to disappoint if you kind of put people on pedestals. And, it turns out they end up doing bad things at some point because, everybody's complicated. So I try not to just, look at one person but more types of people, like hardworking people, honest people, I guess helpers. Those are more my superhero type of, people, especially nurses. I have a bunch of nurses in my family and, they give so much, so if there's anybody I'm going to see as a superhero, it's just like nurses in general. Oh, absolutely. It keeps art you know, it keeps everybody exposed to art, especially in, communities that, art may not be seen as may not be pushed as an escape, to be able to get out. I grew up in a very small, like, poor town, so I wasn't exposed to a lot of art growing up. I'd never really been in an art gallery until I was in my 20s. But people weren't really like, oh yeah, you can be an artist as a career. You can do that. And anytime it seemed like, especially men or boys wanted to go into that field, it was always kind of like discouraged, or you can't make a living like that. You got to go do a real job. So, like, organizations like this really bring it out and expose younger people to a different way that they can come out and express themselves. So organizations like this and all the art nonprofits. Like, I work for the San Antonio Street Art Initiative right now. So we're a nonprofit, does art advocacy, and art education. So yeah, I understand the importance because I work for it. I work with it, and that's kind of where I wanted to put all of my focus and my work into these nonprofit and community organizations, because they are vital to our communities. The Virgen of Guadalupe program. Just growing up around that imagery. I'm not a religious person, but growing up around the imagery, it's really, like, nostalgic, and it's. I think that image is probably one of the most symbolic to our culture, like Mexican culture, South Texas culture, all of that. So yeah, I love that exhibition, every year that it comes out. I really love to see the different takes on the Virgen and the way that people interpret that image. Like, I have one on my arm right here. It's like, I really love that it's like the Virgen with the corn around it, because it's really like, I don't know, that reminds me so much of growing up. I grew up around cornfields and around the images. So yeah, I love that one. It's very colorful. I love how vibrant a lot of the paintings are, the murals. I love how it just ties into, I don't know, you see a lot of influences from, like, poverty also, like that kind of culture here, because we're around a lot of poverty, and that's put into a lot of the artwork. But how vibrant it is and how colorful at the same time. To me, that always portrayed like a way that even with materialistically, like, very little, that we can still be very bright and colorful and festive city. So that's what I love about San Antonio art. It's just how vibrant and fun it is, while also being very still, connected to the people. With my art, the one thing I like to do most is just make people laugh. It's very, my art is rooted in, like, a humor. I really like whenever somebody will look at, like, something I do, a painting, a t-shirt or something, and laugh and say, oh my God, I remember that, So triggering that sense of nostalgia, or being able to, connect people to a moment in their life that they had, was either significant joy or a moment of reflection, or something that they can, be introspective about. That's kind of what I want my art to do, and what that does, how that generates, like, in a bigger picture of the world or whatever. It's like, whatever. But I just I like people to be able to connect, moments and be nostalgic. Okay, so this piece I called, I call it Chingate Warhol. It's a potted meat can, and it says it's a Chingate Warhol because canned soup was too expensive. It's what it says in the background. It's just, I love potted meat. It's just a comfort food for me, but I don't eat it a lot because it's like nothing but sodium. So yeah, I just wanted to paint a picture of it because I had a can out. And this is really one of my first paintings on canvas. And I'm really excited how it turned out. But yeah, it just I love potted meat, and then I don't know, it reminded me of those Campbell's soup type of paintings that Andy Warhol did, and I was thinking, man, screw you, we couldn't afford Campbell's, bastard. So so that's why I gave it that name. This one is called "Fuck the Neighbors, Turn the Music Up." You know, all right. So it's a picture of Mr. Rogers, and that's what it says at the bottom. You know, F the neighbors, turn the music up, and I I like Mr. Rogers, the messages he has. Like I have designed a T-shirt that says, you know, like has a picture of Mr. Rogers, says look for the helpers, you know, because that's really important message now, and you know, times of need, you got to look for people that help the good people, because sometimes we can get just focused on bad people, right? But I also wanted, this is one of my bigger paintings, is biggest paintings I'd worked on at the time, and you know, I'm still trying to work on techniques and stuff and getting clean lines. So that's why I wanted to put the little sound waves in there, and I just wanted to have fun with it, you know. Just I don't know, there's a line of a song that's a line of a song that really I don't know, it just really stuck with me. It's a background line. Somebody just says, "Oh, fuck the neighbors, turn the music up," and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds so cool." And then I just thought, "Hey, I'll just mix it with Mr. Rogers." This is a digital piece. It's called Cometelo Cabron. It's, I was always going through stock photos, and this is like two older people, and the old lady's feeding an older man. And as soon as I saw it, it just triggered, like, I don't know, the thoughts of older women whenever they're around older men. They're just like kind of sick of them. So, and you know, like older men need help. So just that image of a lady feeding this man with all that built up resentment and spite from the years of, you know, maybe like misogyny. I had a whole story in my head about this stock photo, but like maybe about the misogyny that, you know, maybe she had to put up with or something. But at the end of life, like he needs her. So she's just like, "Ándale, cómetelo, cabrón." You know, and that just made me laugh so much. Yeah, and I like using glitch effects on the sides of glitch effects. You know, that kind of, for me, that represents like a fading type of, you know, that type of misogyny is kind of going away as, you know, what I think we should be teaching our sons better. And we should be better. We should be teaching our sons better. So hopefully over time, you know, that kind of misogyny and treatment of women will go away. So those glitch effects are kind of like a little symbol of that.